firstly, that memorandum of demands, what are you asking for?
Yes, what we're asking for is that government must scrap the colored identity. To us, it's very derogative, it's demeaning, and we just want the injustice that was done by the past to be rectified.
And what is the response that you received at Statistic South Africa?
Yes, when we came there, we were welcomed, and we talked about the issue. What was made clear is that this would be a process for the colored identity to be scrapped. But what we also made clear to them is that this identity, it's an identity that was scrapped by the previous government under the leadership of Mr. F.W. de Klerk. And we're asking this government, why up until now, in the new democracy, we are still labeled as coloreds?
And what would be the identity you would want in its place?
We made it clear that we are Khoisan. We are the first nation of South Africa. And what we were also posed about was that there are some of our people that only grew up knowing colored. And then the question came about was, what about them? Don't they want to be named colored? What about them if they want to be named colored? We made it clear that these people, which is our cousins, which are our aunts, they do not know much of their history. But what is also made clear is that this colored identity needs to be scrapped. If they want to call themselves anything other than this, it is fair to us. But we don't need that colored identity to be used ever again.
But to the extent, at least from what you're saying, to the extent that there hasn't been mass consensus on it, do you think that you need more time to consult the broader colored community, as we call it, to hear what the way forward is? Or would you like to see this being implemented even without the buy-in of those that would be affected by this categorization?
You see, what we must know and what must be made clear is that we did not call ourselves colored. This was an identity that was forced upon us. Now, in this new democracy, we thought that this new government will rectify that was upon us. Now, we find ourselves, when we go for jobs, we find that again this colored identity comes up. But we self-identify ourselves as Khoisan people. But when we go to government and we fill in Z83 forms, we find ourselves have to label again this colored identity.
All right, and when exactly are you expecting a response from Statistics South Africa?
Well, the response was that they have heard what I've said, because this is not the first attempt that I did. I actually went to their East London offices on 13th of April about the same issue. And today what made it significant was that throughout the different 9 provinces, our people went to Stats SA also with the same notice to tell that we need the identity to be abolished. But what Stats SA also said that they keep on referring to those people that want to still be labeled as coloreds. But what we made clear to them is that a person that still labels himself as colored is a person that did not go back into his history, did not go back into his ancestral side. Because if he did that, he will find himself that he still speaks the language when he say for yes, and for no, And he also still hears that his parents were called Hotnots, which comes from Hottentot, which is the Khoi people.
All right, that's where we're going to leave it for tonight. We'll certainly be following up to see what progress there is on this particular story. Chief Khoisan from the Khoisan SA Royal Council.